Hey everyone, and let's jump right into it. In this video, let's talk about the field-backed properties. This feature has been introduced in Csharp 14 .NET 10 release. Now, in order to demonstrate this new feature, I have some code written here using the older syntax. Let's quickly walk through the code so we're all on the same page. So I have a user class with the required username property that uses a private backing field. The backing field allows me to expose the value through the get accessor, but more importantly, it lets me enforce validation in the set accessor. If the incoming value is null, empty, or white space, I simply throw an exception because it is not a valid username. However, when the value is valid, I assign it to the backing field, which becomes the new value of the username property. Next, I have a method called print_username, which is just there to help me format and print the username to the console without repeating myself. Lastly, I instantiate and initialize the user class with a username called SomeUser123 and use print_username to print it to the console. Hopefully, it all makes sense, so let's go ahead and run it to see the current results. As you can see, username is SomeUser123 as expected. Now, let me set username to an empty string and run the code again. As expected, I get an argument exception saying it is an invalid username. But now, let me write a new method within the user class called reset, which will simply set the username to an empty string without enforcing validation. I will then go ahead and once again initialize the user class with a username called SomeUser123, but this time I will also call the reset method after it and print the username both times. As you can see, it initially prints SomeUser123 and then it prints an empty username, which should never have been allowed. This happens because the username backing field is marked as private, which still allows it to be modified from anywhere within the type itself. In other words, even though the set accessor enforces validation and prevents invalid values from being assigned, the reset method bypasses that logic entirely by directly accessing and mutating the backing field. Now that you've seen the problem, let's introduce field-backed properties from the Csharp 14 .NET 10 release and see how it solves it. Before I move on, if you are finding this video helpful, make sure to like, subscribe, and drop a quick comment with what you've learned or a suggestion with what you'd like to see next. Now, back to the video. So I will remove the username backing field and replace it with a new contextual reserved keyword called field within the property get and set accessor bodies. As you can see, reset method can no longer access the backing field used by the property because it only exists within the context of the property. So I will go ahead and remove the reset method and its usage as well. Lastly, I will simplify this even further by omitting the backing field from the get accessor entirely since it is automatically generated by the compiler. Now let's run and make sure that it works. Now let me set username to an empty string and run it as well. As you can see, both approaches behave correctly with a much cleaner and safer syntax. One small caveat to be aware of is that if you already have a member named field, the compiler will raise a warning due to the naming conflict. That said, my recommendation is to avoid manual backing fields for simple cases like this one altogether and rely on the field keyword instead, which is exactly what it was designed for. So hope at this point you are clear about the field-backed properties in C# 14 .NET 10 and see how they can simplify your code base, making it safer as well. Even more in-depth content is available at digitaldevacademy.com, so definitely check it out by clicking on the link in the description below, and I will see you in the next video.